Packers wide receiver Trevor Davis will not be charged. Authorities said he falsely claimed to have explosives at an LA airport. Airport police say Davis was checking in for a Hawaiian Airlines flight earlier this month when an employee asked if he had any explosives in his bag. It's a routine question. Authorities say Davis jokingly told them yes and asked the woman he was with, quote, "Did you pack the explosives?" New developments tonight, charges of misconduct filed against two former UW-Oshkosh officials.
It's in connection to several building projects on campus, and it could land them behind bars. NBC 26's Shane Gustafson is live in Oshkosh tonight with the very latest. Shane.
Yeah, John and Stacy, there isn't much talk of these charges here on the UW-Oshkosh campus, but in a statement, the chancellor did say that the school will continue to move forward with integrity even after these two men had charges filed against them. Now, according to a criminal complaint, former Chancellor Richard Wells and former Vice Chancellor Tom Sonneletter promised to repay banks any amount of money the Oshkosh Foundation couldn't, which is against the law since it extends the state's credit to a private person. UW Systems said the two men paid about $11 million to banks illegally, but Wells says the system knew what he was doing and says nobody stopped him from doing that. Now, the UW-Oshkosh Foundation did declare bankruptcy after falling $14.5 million in debt. They say a lot of that from spending by these two men. We're keeping you connected tonight live in Oshkosh. Shane Gustafson, NBC 26.
Shane, thank you. Coming up tonight on NBC 26 News at 10, it's graduation day for Marine recruits from Northeast Wisconsin. Now, these recruits spent the last 13 weeks in boot camp, never knowing the next challenge that might come their way. But when they finally walk across the base and earn that title of Marine, their pride, they say, is indescribable, both for them and their families.
Seeing what's been going on in the world, seeing him join the Marines when he did, and on his own with no prodding or pushing from anybody, it's just being proud of him.
Very proud indeed. Coming up at 10, NBC 26 goes back to San Diego and shows you what it's like at a Marine graduation.
A very proud moment for them, I'm sure. Well, up next, a battle between Packers and Cowboys fans.
A Wisconsin native living in Texas launches a contest to try to help a coworker who's in need.
And now, your NBC 26 Storm Shield forecast with meteorologist Gino Recchia.
It was nice to bring back those 60s and even a 70-degree high temperature in Wapaka. The rest of us, we were in the 60s this afternoon, but sadly, we're going to have to see another cool down as temperatures will be dropping back down into the 40s for tomorrow, maybe close towards 50 on Saturday as we have some rain showers and cooler weather after that cold front passes through. But right now, still beautiful outside. It is 66 degrees, winds coming in out of the west and southwest at 9 miles per hour. So enjoy it because the next 2 days, it's not going to be as pleasant. 64 in Mountain, 65 in Oshkosh, a little cooler along the lakeshore from a lake breeze off Lake Michigan. It's 54 in Sturgeon Bay and 53 in Manitowoc right now. Winds coming in out of the south and southwest at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. But you see they're already starting to change out of the north and west-northwest up towards Shawano, Anago, and even Mountain. That's the precursor. That's that cooler air that's going to start to move through as that cold front passes through our area. Temperatures right now much warmer than yesterday, between about 5 to as much as near 20 degrees up towards Menominee, 18 degrees warmer right now than what they were at yesterday afternoon. Skies have been gradually increasing in cloud cover, and we are seeing a few stray showers being detected on radar, but the cold front, not a lot of moisture with it. Might have a few isolated showers overnight tonight, but a secondary system's coming in from southern Canada, and that'll arrive here tomorrow and bring in additional light rain showers. The good news is that we're not expecting a whole lot of rainfall out of this, and that's because it's good news because we still have some flood warnings in effect for the Little Wolf River, the Wolf River, and also the Embarrass River, all seeing minor flooding for the time being. Those conditions should improve by early next week. As for tonight, we cool down into the 30s and lower 40s. There goes that first round of some light rain showers. Might have a break in the action early tomorrow morning before a second round of rain showers move through up towards the Northwoods. Maybe even a few wet snowflakes early on in the morning before the sun rises. Then during the afternoon, it should be all rainfall. Temperatures struggling to even reach near 50. And then as we cool off into Friday night into Saturday, temperatures near the freezing mark. So how much rain are we talking about here? Just about a tenth to as much as near a quarter of an inch of rainfall out of the system, maybe near 3 3/10 of an inch. Not a lot expected. For tonight, 34 degrees, isolated rain showers, winds changing out of the north and northwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, then continuing out of the northwest at about 5 to 15 tomorrow, and actually that should be a little bit cooler, high of only in the upper 40s. Then we gradually reach near 50 degrees on Saturday. Sunday, high of near close to 60, and then we do get back into the 70s on Tuesday with a chance of a few showers and thunderstorms, which last into towards Wednesday and even towards Thursday, high of 67.
But today was beautiful.
It
Sunshine
was.
on the face, nice and warm.
Oh, yes.
All right, thanks, Gino.
Gino, thank you. Still to come here at 6, a friendly competition between football fans.
Why a Texas teacher with ties to Wisconsin is pitting his two states against each other.
A Wisconsin native is calling on Packers fans to help raise money for a teacher who is fighting cancer.
NBC 26's Cassandra Duvall is live at 6 now with that story.
Well, Stacey and John, Bruce Hermans grew up in Luxembourg and is now an assistant principal at a school outside of Dallas. He's raising money for a teacher at his school named Allison. She's battling a rare and aggressive form of tongue, neck, and head cancer. Now, Bruce had the idea to run in the Cellcom Green Bay Marathon next month, and he created 2 GoFundMe pages, one for Dallas fans to donate to and one for Packers fans. Now, whoever raises the most money, Bruce will wear that team's jersey as he runs the final mile of the Cellcom.
I would never be caught dead in that blue and silver stuff. So it would kill me if I would have to run in that. So I have a lot of faith in Packer fans that as they hear about this, they're going to come through and they're going to show these Cowboys what Packer fans are all about.
And today, Bruce ran more than 20 miles to train for the Cellcom. His end mark is the NFL Draft Experience, where the draft is being held this evening. Now, if you would like to donate to help Bruce and the Packers page take the lead, just visit our website. We have a link to that GoFundMe page. Keeping you connected, Cassandra Duvall, NBC 26.
Go Team Packers. Well, coming up, we go back live to Lambeau Field for more draft day coverage.
We have an expert on hand, and we hear from Aaron Rodgers on his draft day experience. Stay with us here. It's all next.
And now, NBC 26 Sports with Sports Director Charlie Sakaitis.
Welcome back to the show. Draft day is finally here, and so is Chris Barrier, no matter how many times I try to kick him off the set.
That's not very nice. I feel unwanted.
I know.
You know, today, a lot of college players are hoping to feel wanted by NFL teams, hoping to hear their names called in the first round of the 2018 NFL Draft. And for more on that and less on this, we go to Kelly Price with a special guest to break it all down.
I'm here with Aaron Nagler of PackersNews.com. You're one of the beat writers that covers the Packers. You picked Derwin James, the safety from FSU, as your pick in the first round for that 14th overall pick. What do you think he can do to help the Packers?
Well, first of all, you know, the Packers have been abysmal covering receivers, basically defending the pass in general. That's something he can do very well all over the field, any type of player. But he can also help a moribund pass rush. He's excellent off the slot, getting to the quarterback, extremely physical, a guy who's not going to be deterred, whether it's a tight end, even an offensive tackle. He's going to go get the quarterback. And I think it's something, especially in the slot. They have perimeter guys in the secondary. They need somebody in the slot, and he would definitely fit the bill. When you're looking at the roster, you want to plug and play guys who will come in and kind of elevate the play of positions that have lagged in previous years. But look, I think you have to throw out a lot of what we've seen from these players in Dom Capers' scheme. Mike Pettin is going to be a very different guy. He's going to be a very week-to-week game plan-specific guy. And Derwin James is like a chess piece. I mean, he's somebody like the queen on the chessboard where you can move him all over and use him in a lot of different ways, a lot more versatile than Josh Jones. A much bigger hitter than HaHa Clinton Dix. I mean, he's a guy who's going to cause problems for an offense, and you just don't cast that aside.
And then on Monday, Brian Gutekunst said that Ted Thompson will be in that war room with them. A lot of kind of people on Twitter and fans have not been a huge fan of that. But don't you think at the end of the day it's an asset to have someone like that in the room with you?
Oh, no doubt. I think anytime you can have a guy who's done it at a high level for over a decade, you absolutely want that in your corner. If you're Brian Gutekunst, you want to be able to turn to him and say, especially if something unexpected happens, you know, there's nothing Ted Thompson hasn't seen, and not just as his time as general manager, but his entire time in personnel, his entire time as a player in the NFL. He has more institutional knowledge than anybody in this building.
And you're going to want to follow him on Twitter at Aaron Nagler. He's a great Twitter follow if you don't already follow him. But that's all we've got before the draft tonight.
In the lead up to the draft, fans and media members aren't the only ones trying to fill the anticipatory void. The players themselves have a lot of time. They're just kind of waiting around.
Yeah, that's really all there is to do but wait. And draft prospect quarterback Baker Mayfield got a little creative last night on Twitter while he was waiting. First, let's flash back a little bit, right? Do you all remember this? This is the famous photo of Brett Favre on draft day, taking the call from his dorm room, sporting the same jorts that Charlie wears on his off days. And as they say, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So check this out.
Mayfield doing a pretty impressive recreation of the Favre photo. I don't know where he found the old Zach Morris style phone. That thing's an antique now. The attention to detail, incredible. This won the internet last night.
It even earned a response from the gunslinger himself, Favre tweeting, quote, "Good luck tonight. Remember to send my jorts back tomorrow." While this probably won't affect his draft stock, Mayfield's fan stock here in Green Bay is certainly on the rise.
And one person that knows what it's like to be drafted in the first round as a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he didn't exactly have the draft he expected, falling way back into the first round, but he still has some fond memories that he decided to share.
I was 21 when I got drafted. They gave me a free phone, which at the time was a Razor, if you remember the Razor phone. It was like the coolest thing possible. And I had a 917 number, so I was like, man, I got a New York Razor phone. Like, this is pretty awesome. There's so many things that we did leading up to that in the 2 days before the draft. It was fun to get to know the other 5 guys who are going to be in the green room. Obviously, it's way different than it is now, and I think it's great that there's a night dedicated to the first round. It's also tough on the guys who go and don't get picked. I went through, 4.5 hours of waiting, which it was important for me in the long run. But my favorite memory is obviously hearing my name picked in the green room, getting to get out of there so I could finish cleaning the room, which they already started doing, and then shaking Commissioner Tag the Booth's hand and knowing I was going to be heading to Green Bay the next day.
A lot of hands will be shaken tonight. For Chris Barrier, I'm Charlie Sakaitis for NBC 26.
Temperatures are going to be cooling down as a cold front passes through tonight, and tomorrow highs only in the upper 40s, and we'll have a continued chance of some rain showers tomorrow, so probably a good idea to keep the umbrellas handy.
All right, well, remember that. Thank you, Gino, and thank you for connecting with us here at 6 tonight.
Stay with us for the Now Wisconsin. It is next. We'll go back live to Superior, the oil refinery explosion. Stay with us here. Thanks for watching. It's the Now Wisconsin on a Thursday night. Thanks for watching. I'm John Erickson, and we begin with developing news out of northern Wisconsin. There's an evacuation order for part of Superior after an explosion at an oil refinery. 11 people were hurt. There is a state of emergency there now. It is where we find the Now's Matt Jarko live in Superior with the latest. Matt.
John, no fatalities are being reported this evening despite those injuries you mentioned. Back at the Husky Energy oil refinery, asphalt is on fire, and officials say right now they're going to let it just keep burning. They say it's too dangerous for them to try to put out right now. So in the meantime, you can see smoke continuing to fill parts of the Superior sky here, a result of what officials say is an explosion at the refinery that began at about 10 o'clock this morning. There is no word yet on the cause of that explosion. A state of emergency has been called there, and officials are calling for schools in the area to be canceled tomorrow. There's an evacuation order in place for miles around the plant, and this plant is Wisconsin's only refinery, and it puts out gas, asphalt, and other products. A Canadian company bought the refinery from an Indiana-based company last year. Here's part of an afternoon update.
The asphalt is on fire, and as I mentioned earlier, it's a little like tires. Once you get going, they're very hot and they're hard to extinguish, and that's really what we're trying to make sure is public safety and then the safety of the responders.
Schools were evacuated today. As for how large the evacuation area is, 3 miles in every direction from the plant except for the south in that direction because of the wind. Authorities want everyone within 10 miles to leave. And again, officials say it is asphalt on fire at the plant behind me there. We've actually seen some flames continue this evening, and officials say they are not going to try to put it out yet. They're going to let it burn its course for a little bit, and no word on when the fire could be put out. John?
So, Matt, you drove to Superior today with the evacuation going on. Did you see a lot of people leaving the area as you were heading in?
We did not see a whole lot of traffic, especially in the streets of Superior. Very quiet, but driving in, what we did see was a lot of smoke. Even for dozens of miles away, you could see the smoke covering the sky, but not a lot of traffic moving either direction in Superior right now. John?
A large plume of smoke indeed. The Now's Matt Jarko live in Superior covering that oil refinery explosion. Matt, thank you. And on that same topic, let's get a check now with meteorologist Gino Recchia. Gino, before working here at NBC 26, you worked in Duluth, Superior, and you know someone who was hurt in today's blast. Is that right?
That's correct. So this morning, one of my friends, his name's Joey, he was 50 yards away from that initial blast. The blast was so powerful, it blew him to the ground, and he has a concussion, and also his eardrums have ruptured. He's now resting at home, so that's great news. He got out of the hospital and he is recovering, and he was telling me he's just amazed that no one was killed from this explosion. The radar even picked up on the smoke plume that moved through southern Superior. The second explosion occurred right around noon, and that's when the radar really picked it up. You can see where that plume was traveling down southward, and even some pretty high radar returns showing how thick and dense that smoke plume was as well. The winds, they are right now blowing in off Lake Superior, so a little lake breeze. So as that smoke plume's rising, it's moving down to the southwest, but then you see up towards Duluth International Airport, winds coming in down from the northwest. So as that plume is rising, it's then starting to travel down to the southeast, where it's impacting areas like South Range, and farther then south of that is Solon Springs. As for us, well, a cold front's going to be moving through, and we have a chance of some rain showers that'll pass through parts of northeast Wisconsin later on tonight. Precipitation-wise, not a lot. The next chance of seeing, we have a second round that's going to pass through, and that'll spark off additional showers tomorrow. How much rain are we talking about here? Well, total from tonight until late tomorrow night, we're expecting about anywhere from about 1/10 of an inch to as much as near 3/10 of an inch of rainfall out of the system. Right now, it's beautiful. We got mostly clear skies overhead, 66 degrees, and we got winds coming in out of the west and southwest ahead of that cold front. Across the area, a little bit cooler up towards Anago, 58 degrees in Sheboygan, 59 in Manitowoc, only at 52. So along the lakeshore of Lake Michigan, we have a slight lake breeze, so a little cooler, but farther inland, you're still seeing those 60s. For tonight, we're going to be dropping down to lower 30s with a few light rain showers, John, and that umbrella will probably be handy as well as we get towards tomorrow, because we have additional light rain showers, and also might need a jacket as well because it's going to be cool. Highs only in the 40s.
All right, we'll keep that in mind. Gino Recchia on the weather deck. Gino, thank you. Draft day coverage is next. Stay with us. In just about 20 minutes, the 2018 NFL Draft will officially be underway in Dallas. Back here in Titletown, Packers brass will be in the War Room at Lambeau Field trying to snag the next star. Our sports team is there live to give us an idea of who the green and gold have their eyes on. Guys?
Lambeau Field on draft day, unquestionably one of my favorite things to cover as a Packers reporter, somebody that gets to come in here, see all these guys. But this year a little different. Brian Gutekunst, first time as the GM, and there's a little bit of pressure from the fans. And when you look at his predecessor, Ted Thompson, all he did with his first pick was select Aaron Rodgers. And if you go way back in time, Ron Wolf, he traded a first-round pick for Brett Favre right when he got here. So this will be heavily scrutinized.
Oh, for sure. Let's not forget, Aaron Rodgers was an absolute gift at pick number 24 that he slid all the way down. Now you're looking at pick number 14, the highest the Packers have drafted since 2009. You're coming off of a season where you're 7-9. You didn't make the playoffs. I don't care if you're a first-year GM or not. There's absolutely pressure coming into this draft. Everybody sees the defense as the weak point, right? You're looking at a defensive back, maybe an edge rusher in the first round. Well, riddle me this. What if Gutekunst throws a curveball and takes a wide receiver first round? Alabama's Calvin Ridley might be the best overall player left on the board at 14. Jordy's gone. Randall Cobb has but a year left on his contract, so just maybe Gutekunst will make a splash in his first year as GM and go with an offensive pick to start.
And if he does that, that will be a departure from what Ted Thompson has done in the past. Thompson has not been somebody to go up and get a wide receiver in the first round. He's seen success in the second round, in the third round. So it will be something very different than we've seen in the past if that's the decision they go with.
Look, defensive back, wide receiver, offensive lineman. I really don't think you can go wrong at pick 14. Only thing you can't do is trade back.
We hope not anyway. Charlie Sakaitis with Chris Barrier for the Now Wisconsin.
Charlie and Chris, thanks so much. We will break in here on NBC 26 when the Packers make their pick and when GM Brian Gutekunst takes to the podium. Let's go to Chris now.
Let's turn to the Now News feed. Today, President Trump says he will not make certain documents about JFK's assassination public. The president says that he's keeping them under wraps because of national security concerns. Well, get ready for flights to cost a little more at least. Fuel costs, that is rising, and it's cutting into airline profits. American Airlines CEO says the cost of gas led to a 45% profit drop in just the first quarter of the year, so he says expect ticket prices to go up. Well, famous street outside Boston's Fenway Park, it's getting a new name. Today, the city approving a plan to change the name of Yawkey Way to Jersey Street. It was named after the team's former owner, who many say was a racist. Well, we have a major warning for you today after a major company promised no hidden fees, but now it's accused of charging hundreds, even thousands of dollars in those fees anyway. The Now's investigative reporter Jace Larson has what you have to look out for.
Lending Club Corporation boasts having 2 million customers and loaned more than $33 billion. And on their website, they say the average customer rating is almost 5 stars. But the FTC doesn't find them behaving in a 5-star way. In court documents, they say that Lending Club, quote, lures prospective borrowers by promising no hidden fees. But when the funds from these loans arrived in people's bank accounts, hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars was deducted from their money. So what happened here? The FTC says it was a hidden upfront fee that Lending Club deducted from customers' loan money. That's the exact opposite of what the company claimed it was doing. The FTC says Lending Club also lured customers by falsely telling them that investors had backed their loan, even though the company knew that the customer would never get the loan when they made that promise. If you do have to get a short-term loan, shop around and make sure you get a list of all fees up front. If a company won't give you the list of their fees, well, that is a major red flag. I'm Jace Larson, The Now.
Jace, thank you. Next in our lineup, it is a story that you just can't miss. This test track in the desert could mean the new way that we travel and could be a reality within a matter of years. We'll tell you about it when The Now continues. How about this? No more traffic, no more airline delays, and traveling faster than you ever thought possible to get where you're going. That could happen sooner than you think. The Now's Lindsay Shively got an up-close look at what's taking shape, transforming transportation.
In the middle of the desert, miles outside of Las Vegas, what happens in this tube could change how we travel.
Imagine traveling between cities hundreds of miles apart in a matter of minutes instead of hours in a tube like this. But is this just a pipe dream? Virgin Hyperloop One says not only are they close to reality, they're closer to doing it than you might think.
And they hope this third-of-a-mile test track is the road to the future.
For a lot of people, this seems like science fiction.
It does, but it's science fact because you can see it right here.
Dr. Anita Sengupta leads the team in charge of making this technology come together.
We've demonstrated out here in the desert in Las Vegas, which experiences very large temperature swings. Over 100 degrees during the day, can get below freezing at night.
You were part of the team that helped land a rover on Mars?
That's correct, yes. That's my training. I spent most of my career working at NASA. I'm used to working with vacuum chambers. I'm used to working with electromagnetic propulsion systems.
Working on Hyperloop reminds her of working on spacecraft. Traveling hundreds of miles per hour through a vacuum tube in a magnetically levitating pod. That pod is designed to fit 9 to 12 people. She thinks it will remind passengers of a plane, but better.
You don't have the traditional sort of experiences that you have in aircraft. There's no such things as turbulence, right? Because you actually have no air around you, right, on the outside of the pod. So the ride is actually